So for today's video, I want to talk about something that's applicable to any musician or heck anyone who uses a tool for any job or task that they have. And that is, it's important to find different ways to use the tools that are in your toolkit. For me, the instruments that I have are all tools for producing music, just like you might have some box end wrenches and sockets that accomplish a similar task of tightening a bolt. Doesn't mean that you only need to have one of those sets. Each one is good at a different style of that task. So it can be really important to find new and interesting ways to use your tools. The example I want to give for you today is taking the electric bass and turning it into something that sounds a little bit closer to an acoustic bass. This is my electric bass. It's just a Squier jazz bass, but it does the job of being an electric bass quite well. And it gets used on most every song that I record because bass is a very important foundational instrument for any song. Electric basses don't tend to sound that similar to their acoustic counterparts. There's usually some artifacts based on the electric pickups and the way that they pick up the sound versus actually having a big wooden body that can allow that sound to reverberate within the room. But there's a couple little tricks that you can do to make this sound a little bit closer to an actual acoustic bass. As much as I would love to have a big upright bass in my arsenal, they're very expensive and very large, and when money and space is at a premium, that's the name of the game. So the first technique in taking an electric bass and making it sound like an acoustic bass or closer is you gotta get something kind of absorbent and dampening down by the bridge. In this case, I've just got some napkins that I've shoved under there, and it kind of dampens the strings a little bit. So it gets rid of some of the ringing and overtones that are present on the electric bass. The second little trick is one that's very easy. Normally on this kind of bass, you'll put your thumb on one of the pickups and you'll do your finger walking back here. You can get a more acoustic sounding tone if you're strumming up here on the neck. It's got less of that electric bass bite in the attack. It's got a more round and easy to roll sound if you pick up here versus down here. And you can even hear that unplugged, so if I just play like this versus it's a little bit harder to do because you don't have the same thumb brace, but for the purpose of making that sound, it's worth it. And I've used this technique across a number of the songs in the first volume of the Railroads Online soundtrack. There's a lot of songs in there where some of that harshness coming from an electric bass wouldn't fit with the rest of the acoustic ensemble, and not having the upright bass, I went with this technique. It doesn't sound perfectly like an upright bass, you don't have the resonance of the wood, but it doesn't scream at you that it's an electric bass, and so it doesn't take anything away. One of my favorite examples of this is a song called Roundhouse Blues off of the first volume of the Railroads Online soundtrack, and I guess we'll play a little bit of that one, huh? I hope you guys enjoyed this little tip on finding new ways to use your tools for something a little bit more. In my case, taking my electric bass and using it for something that sounds a little bit more acoustic. Next week, I'm going to be in Golden, Colorado at the Colorado Railroad Museum, where I'm going to be helping my friends there operate the Polar Express. So if you guys want to see any cool behind the scenes or videos from that, or perhaps a little bit of guitar action around the Roundhouse, by all means, let me know down in the comments. I hope you guys liked this video. Give it a like, give the channel a subscribe, and thanks for watching.